Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Pitch International with me, Darius. Because today is the 31st of October, 2023. So, yeah, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this last trading day of October, Tuesday. Before we go further, as always, we want to quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, yep, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear from that little left corner and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the chart, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. So, right, now then, guys, let's jump into the charts. The first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, and we're seeing some positivity in Nikkei. Of course, maybe not as much, but still some positivity, and that's coming out of Bank of Japan. This morning, we got the numbers from Japan. Initially, of course, we got the industrial production, unemployment number, industrial production, the preliminary one did decline actually, so it kind of didn't meet the forecast. However, came out better than the previous. Now, but the focus fell on the Bank of Japan and its interest rate decision, and that was kept at the same minus 0.1%. So that means that there is some positivity here in the Nikkei, in the stock market, because again, lower. This is the fact that they didn't go for a rate hike is helping the stock market. Yes, we're seeing a little bit of a push higher. Now, from the technical perspective, we can see that we are struggling to overcome this downside line. And as I said to you before, that I need to see a clearance of this downside line first in order to start examining higher levels. But of course, I'm keeping an eye on the 200-day EMA together with the 31,133 zone right here, which basically I need to see a clearance of that territory in order to go higher. If I get that, great, I'll go further north. I'll target the 31,453 and eventually the 50 and the 100-day EMAs. Now, in terms of the downside, the same analysis is still valid. I need to see a drop below that 30,558 territory, somewhere around here, in order to consider a move lower. So, yep, keep that in mind. Jumping into China 50, and look, I mean, China is kind of floating around there. I mean, it's still floating above that 11,883 territory that I spoke about previously. I'm still targeting that downside line here, drawn from the high of the 1st of August. And in general, of course, if you're looking for some further upside, then yes, a break of this downside line is required. So if I get that, great, more buyers here could join in. We could potentially then target my 12,223 territory, sorry, 12,230 zone, together with the 50-day EMA. That's my game plan for now. Let's see how all this is going to play out. Of course, for the downside, a break of the upside line is required. Look, today we got the manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI figures from China, and together with the composite PMI. So, but the focus fell on the manufacturing PMI figure because that one again came back. I mean, it went back into contraction territory. It fell below 50. And of course, the market doesn't really like that. And you can see that although we should have seen maybe some positivity, well, we're seeing that positivity kicking in right now because of the U.S. session yesterday, because of the Japan number, I think initially we saw a decline. So, but yes, the overall state of the economy, I mean, overall state of all indices, I mean, that's helping China 50 to push back up a little bit, despite the drop in manufacturing, a slight decline in manufacturing PMI. That's not the end of the world. Look, I mean, it came out at 49.5, so the forecast was for 50.2. So in a way, nothing is lost yet. So we could still see a push higher, push back above the 50 zone. But again, that's of course keeps the market participants a little bit on the edge, especially Chinese market participants. ASX 200. So this one still remains below that 6,850 zone I talked about. Look, also talked about this 6,800 territory, and I said to you that if we do drop and stay below it, then yes, I'll go lower. For now, the question for me is, can we actually go lower? Can we actually, I mean, does this have the power to slide further south? Well, I think at this point, the easier option is to just kind of keep an eye on the 6,745. If we do clear that one, then yes, a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed. Also, do not exclude, for example, an opportunity for this one, let's say, to pop or to drop lower, fall below the 6,745 zone, but then actually by the end of the day, kind of drift back up, and let's say we see the body of the daily candle staying with above this hurdle, then we'll get ourselves a nice, beautiful falls breakout and maybe a nice reversal back to the upside. So, and such a scenario is possible. However, as I said before, I prefer to wait for a push above this 6,850 zone here, and then we will take it from there. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Dow Jones Industrial Average, looking at the picture here is very, very nice. Very nice. Oh, by the way, just before I go further, good morning in the chat room. Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a wonderful start off Tuesday. So, jumping back into the Dow, look, yesterday we saw some recovery in the market. Let me just double check very quickly the earnings, because yesterday we had some companies delivering results. Just bear with me one moment. McDonald's showed fantastic result. Some other companies basically did show good lows. Lows are unclear. I mean, that one, yeah, Western Digital showed good result. Okay, look, in general, it was all good and nice. So I think that the market is, yes, enjoying the moment. And I think that everybody's in anticipation of tomorrow's Federal Reserve meeting and interest rate decision. So, which, to be honest, nothing's going to happen. I mean, they're going to say that they're willing to act if needed, and they will keep the rate right now unchanged due to difficulties in the economy. So, because the recent slide that we saw, I'm just trying to honestly play Nostradamus here to foresee the future and see what's going to happen. But if by any chance a surprise rate hike comes out, I mean, that would be spectacular. That would bring the market down, and that would be just like insane. So this is what we live for, as traders and market participants. So that's what we live for some sort of drama in the market, right? I mean, we need that in order to kind of try and make something. And this is what it's good that not only us needs that. So But yeah, look, for now, I'll say this way, that looking at the picture here, so far it's working out nicely technically, because JD Invest, good morning to you. I can see you there in the chat room. Happy to see you here. Happy to see everybody else. I mean, I can see only the number there online changing, and thank you very much for tuning in. So coming back to this technical picture on the Dow, as I said, I will get comfortable more with the upside if we do pop back above the 33,000 mark. So far, we're on the right track, and let's see if that happens. Again, like I said, at the moment, it seems like we are moving in the right direction. Let's see if we can stay above that area today. For the downside, again, I know now at this point, I know it's a big area to kind of miss out on, but looking at this, I mean, I don't have any clarity here, so you don't even have like a retracement of some sort here, like a hold up or something like that, in order to consider like a move lower to the downside earlier. Probably that move lower could happen on a drop below the 32,409 zone right here, and then we will just take it from there. The S&P 500. The S&P 500 is very, very attractive here, and yes, at the same time, I mean, it's pushing back up, or at least trying to do so. What I said to you before, that as long as we remain below this 4,174 territory, I'll continue targeting the downside. We are currently climbing above it. Can we drift back down? Well, that's a good question. For now, let's put it this way. It's still too early to talk about the upside. I mean, the Dow is a little bit more attractive to the upside but again, I understand that most of them move in the same direction in tandem. So, you know, if this one decides not to go higher, then well, you know, tough luck, I would say. You know, okay, then the rest are not going to go much to the upside. Dow is the one which will probably stay more deviated from NASDAQ, which I'll jump into in a bit. But look, I will stick to my game plan. In order for me to go higher, a push back above the 4,235 territory is required. For the downside, I need to see well, this is where I'm going to adjust my level a little bit. I need to see a drop below this 4,122, because that's the lowest point of October, or I should say the current lowest point of October. But something tells me that it might stay like this. So the lowest point of October, 4,122, a break of it is required in order to go lower. So NASDAQ, the one that I talked about. So look, this one is probably a bit of a problematic one for me, because, okay, Dow was the best performer yesterday. NASDAQ was always the loser, the biggest loser. But, I mean, it's actually a harsh word to call it a biggest loser, because it still performed good. So it showed 1.16% gain yesterday. Dow showed the 1.58. So in general, I would say good result. But look, from the technical perspective, we can still see that this one is sitting below that 200-day EMA. It's struggling to move higher. And look, I'm very curious how this month is going to end, because looking at the monthly candle here, I mean, sorry for the lines here interfering, but in general, it seems like that what I'm looking at mainly is this level right here, this 14,600 territory. I really, really like that one. And this 14,600 zone, if we somehow climb back above it, then on the monthly chart, we'll see a beautiful false breakout on the monthly chart. That meaning that there is a chance for a strong reversal to the upside. So the question is for me now, can we see a strong move today to the upside and clear this territory? Yeah, no, I don't know, honestly. Like, but again, surprises happen. Look, in terms of economic data coming out today, well, the thing is that we do have some movers, potential movers, like for example, the CB consumer confidence, or the Chicago PMI figure coming out from the US. So, you know, maybe something, and it's the last day of the month. So sometimes one-way traffics happen, and you know, sometimes these things occur, and maybe, you know, it will be a nice surprise. So today we have the Canadian GDP numbers as well. So something to watch out for, but certainly the preliminary CPIs from Europe are coming out. But I'll get to that in a bit when I'll jump into DAX. But at this point, look, I mean, I still need to see that push back above the 14,459 territory, above that 200-day EMA, which coincides with that level, and then I'll consider a larger correction to the upside towards my downside line drawn from the high of the 12th of October. In terms of the downside, I would need to see a drop below that 14,140 zone here, and then yes, more sellers could join in, because a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed. The German index, DAX. So this one is holding up nicely. It's still, you know, sitting somewhere around here. In general, I would say I'm a little bit on the bullish side because we broke the steep downside line, and I think it's time to get rid of it because now it's just going to be in the way a little bit. So if you're looking for some lower levels, a drop back below the 14,714 territory, somewhere there is required. Maybe actually no. You know what? No, I don't think that this level is good enough. I think that this 14,733 a little bit higher. So if you do fall below it, I'll consider a move lower a little bit again. For the upside, a push above the 14,871, approximately around there, could do the trick here for a few more buyers, and then we could aim for that 15,000 territory or even this 15,066 zone marked by the low of the 4th of October. So yeah, like I said today, we watch out for the preliminary CPI numbers from the Eurozone, and together with that, the same time it's coming out the preliminary GDP numbers for the Eurozone. So some numbers to keep an eye on today. Check out the economic calendar when it's coming out on your side. But yeah, in general, it is quite interesting. It is quite interesting, and I think that this could end up in a nice move today. The last day of the month, I'm kind of leaning towards the upside, to be honest. But, of course, some confirmation breaks are needed for me. And in this case, I need to see that pop above the 14,871 territory in order to consider a move higher, the FTSE 100. So let me just quickly double check it. Yeah, there's nothing coming out from the UK. I think it's going to be mainly dependent on what's going to happen with the pound, the British pound. So, look, at the moment, looking at this picture here, I would say I need to see a drop below the 7,326 territory right here in order to go lower. But for the upside, the same game plan is valid, 7,400. That's from where I'm going to start aiming to the upside. US dollar index. Guys, the reason I'm going very quickly through some of these instruments because I do have a lot, and then I kind of tend to rush through everything at the end of the session, and you know, it's no good. So some of the instruments I already picked up on in my yesterday's video, some of them I did not. So kind of the ones that I picked up already, so I'm just kind of I'm repeating the same scenarios which I'm watching. And yeah, looking at the US dollar here, I mean, we saw a bit of a retracement here back down. We fell below the downside line here, but this is the beautiful thing, is that we remained above that downside line and above that 106.15 zone right here. So as long as we remain above this territory, I will continue targeting the upside. In terms of the downside, I would need to see a drop again below that downside line, and then yes, we could move lower. So long story short, if you're looking for some downside on this one, wait at least for a drop back below this downside line. Not only this 106.15, no, but it's a good level, but for the downside, for me, it's not going to be enough. I need to see a drift back below this downside line right here. And then I'll aim for the 50-day EMA or this 23.6% retracement on the Fibonacci, which I still have on my chart. But at this point, look, maybe this is forming something of a bullish flag. And if it is, then, of course, yes, the scenario is to the upside. However, I think if you're a little bit on the cautious side, what you can do here is just push above the 106.56 territory, and then, yeah, we could take it from there. Now, jumping into gold, beautiful drop below that 23.6. Look, I said to you before, and I'll stick to that game plan. Maybe we're ready for a bit of a retracement, and I do like this big one here. I mean, retracing all the way here lower, but I think, okay, look, that's maybe a little bit too much for now. Let's keep it short and simple. At the moment, you can see that we fell below that 1997 zone and we stayed below it. So in a way, there is a good chance for us to see further declines as long as the commodity remains, as long as gold remains below that 23.6% retracement on the Fibonacci. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. So this is what I'm talking about. So if we continue to trade below that, I will stick to my game plan. And I said to you that if we drop and stay below that 23.6, my next target is the 38.2. I'm still targeting that one. If then we clear that one, the next target is the 50% retracement. And if that gets clear, the 61. So basically, I'm going in these increments slowly. So let's not rush into things for now. Like I said, if we somehow push back and stay above that 1997 territory, or even climb, even better, climb above that psychological 2000 mark, then yes, I will start aiming for the upside again. Silver, let's jump into that one. Okay, we did have a push higher, but that was not enough, and yeah, it was just it still remains above all of the EMAs. That's great. It's sitting around here, but I need some sort of clarity. I need some better moves here. Just bear with me one. So I need some better moves here, and at this point, I'm not getting that. So look, if you wanna consider higher levels, you still can, because we still remain above all of the EMAs. But if we suddenly start pushing back down below that, I'll take a bit of a neutral stand. If we fall below the 50-day EMA, I will aim for a bit of a larger correction here to the downside. Copper, something that I sometimes look at, but again, not always. And I just wanted to kind of remind you, refresh our memories on this one, because this is looking quite nice. And look, previously I said to you that if we do drop and stay below the 3.54 territory, I will go lower. And for me at this point, I need to see a pop above that downside line right here, and a pop above the 50-day EMA in order to go higher. And look, for now, we're kind of almost there, I would say. Yesterday we got that pop, we got that move, but then boom, quickly drifted back down and stayed below that downside line. So in a way, not everything as straightforward as we would like it to be. So, because the downside scenario is not off the table yet, because if it starts falling back below the 3.63 territory right here, then yes, we might, or even better, actually, this little hurdle here, the 3.63 territory. If it falls below that, I will consider a move to the downside. Oil looking good. Fantastic. Look, I talked about this. I said to you, look, if we do break this upside line, and we were on the edge, I said that there is a likelihood that we could drift lower, and there we go. We are drifting lower. We drifted lower, and we reached my target. Fantastic, mission accomplished. Now let's evaluate things again. So at this point, I think that if I want to go further south, and there is a chance for doing that, I need to see a drop below that 81.74 territory and this 200-day EMA. If we get that, great. I will go further south. For the upside, I need to see a break of that downside line drawn from the high of the 27th of September. If we get that, I will consider a move higher. So, of course, initially I'll start aiming for the upside from this 85.60 territory. But again, depending on how this is going to play it, maybe we're going to move more to the right here, and then this barrier becomes interesting here. You know, this level becomes like as a possible breakout here, and then we could take it from there. Bitcoin, so far so good, still holding above that 23.6. It's forming something of a bullish pennant here, or maybe a flag, or something unclear, but something bullish. And according to all the TA rules, such patterns yes, tend to break to the upside. However, I think at this point the easier option is to continue keeping an eye on that 23.6. If we remain above it, then yes, I will continue targeting the upside. I'll aim for that current highest point of October near the 35,611, and if that gets cleared, well, guess what? A forthcoming higher high will be confirmed, and we could start examining higher levels, potentially maybe even aiming for something around here. Yes, let me just put this the way I like it. So 37,400 zone could be a nice good target, marked by the near the low of the 1st of May of 2022. But yeah, look, if we do fall below that 23.6, then the next target is the 38.2, and then the 50% retracement of the Fibonacci, which is perfectly coinciding with my highest point of July here near the 31,837 area, approximately around there. Ethereum, just very quickly, so still the same game plan remains. I mean, the same analysis is valid, the same as Bitcoin, so we need to, as long as we remain above the 1774 zone, I'll continue targeting the upside. If we drop below it, I'll consider a bit of a move lower. Ripple, similar story, but this one's a little bit more interesting because, look, I said to you that if we do continue to trade above the 0.5493, my next target is the 0.5861, then the 0.5961, and if all that gets cleared, certainly, yes, I'm going to go further north. At this moment, we are getting a nice little hold up around this little barrier here. Let me just put it on the chart. This one right here. Let me just highlight this a little bit. There we go. So we're currently sitting above, or just slightly below, sorry, below this hurdle, this 0.5861. If that gets cleared, for me, this is from where I'm going to start aiming higher. For the downside, now previously I looked at this little hurdle, but I think it's time to lower it down a little bit and find something in the lines between these two lines. So between the 0.5306 and the 0.5346. So good potential area of support. If that gets cleared, then certainly, yes, more sellers could join in, but I think that more sellers could join in on a drop below the 200-day, or sorry, well, yeah, actually 200-day EMA, because that's the last EMA here. In general, below all of the EMAs, but this time, and this one here, below the, yes, below the all the EMAs right here. Dogecoin. So Dogecoin is looking quite nice here, and look, as long as we remain above the 200-day EMA, I would say I will continue targeting the upside in general, so something like that. If we start falling below that 200-day EMA, I will aim for the 100-day EMA together with the 50-day EMA. So that's going to be my area here, the next area of support. But for that, I need to see a good drop below that 200-day EMA. Let's jump into a few pairs, AUDUSD. So in terms of economic data from Australia, we didn't get nothing, right? Tomorrow we get some New Zealand stuff, and some, I think, yeah, some AIG manufacturing, construction index. Okay, so that's coming out from Australia tomorrow, but I think that mainly the focus will fall on the on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. No, sorry, retail sales coming out on Friday, Australian. So, but until then, look, this pair, I think, subject to US dollar, that's what's going to happen here. It will remain subject to US dollar. Yesterday we saw a bit of a decline, and we popped above the downside line. We stayed above it. So my next target, as I said, is the 50-day EMA together with the 0.6393, and I'm still kind of targeting that one. If we do get a clearance of that one, my next target is the 100-day EMA, and then we will just take it from there. In terms of lower levels, drop below the 0.6285 territory is required here, and if that happens, then yes, I will consider a move to the downside, and then we will just kind of take it from there. But look, the downside scenario, yes, I know that we could be missing out on a bit of territory right here. Another thing, the reason why I'm aiming only for the 0.6393 territory right now is because I'm just curious if this is not going to end up being something of a range. So basically, no, this is no, I don't like that one. I like this one. So basically, something like that, guys. If it if it gets a hold up here, then yes, it's quite tempting to go higher, but if it's not, I mean, if it's going to struggle with this barrier and this 50-day EMA, then what's the point, right? I mean, we cannot really go anywhere further north. Maybe we'll end up ranging here, but I'll get to that in a bit. Well, not in a bit, but if that happens. AUDNZD, we're drifting nicely to the downside here, and yes, I said to you yesterday that if we do fall below that 1.0899, I will consider a move lower, larger correction here to the downside. And to be honest, I'm considering now a move towards that 23.6 retracement. So let's see if as long as we remain below that 1.0899 zone, I will continue targeting the downside. AUDCAD, this one in a way already kind of mission accomplished, because I said to you that I'm targeting that 200-day EMA. Well, we always target the area near a certain level, and we kind of moved here when we reached that. So it's like 95% complete, so might as well take the profit. If you see that it's not going, then just take your profits. And look, at this moment we're seeing a bit of a retracement on the AUDCAD. In general, yes, I don't mind seeing a bit of a retracement here, maybe towards this 100-day EMA. But if we get a hold up somewhere, let me just grab a trend line. If we do get a hold up, what's this? I don't like this. Yeah, there we go. So if we do get a hold up somewhere above that, this upside support line drawn from the low of the 13th of October, then certainly, yes, we could see maybe a pushback to the upside, But look, for now, it's still, if you're considering some higher levels, I think at this point, let it settle down a little bit, because in general, I think that the better option would be to wait for a pop above this barrier, the 0.8849 zone, and because at the same time, we would climb above the 200-day EMA, and we could go further north. Maybe towards some of these levels. But look, at this point, I think maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible. So let's see if we can reach that 100-day EMA and kind of stay above it and then go back to the upside. The AUDJPY didn't like the no rate hike moment from the BoJ, and we're seeing AUDJPY, yes, exploding to the upside nicely here. So look, in general, this is working out nicely, because I said to you that if we do again move back above this downside line, then yes, certainly a move higher could be possible, and we remain above all of the EMAs. That's another good positive sign here. So far, we are moving nicely higher towards that 95.82, 83 zone, approximately around here. That's my next target, and then I'll take it from there. If we do clear it, great. More buyers here could join in if we do clear this zone. But look, if it holds maybe a bit of a move sideways, you could start here. And look, if we do start falling back below the 50-day EMA, this is from where I'm going to consider a bit of a retracement here back down, maybe towards this lower side here, this key support zone. But again, this is not. I'm not sure yet with this. This is just kind of maybe not as clear as I would like it to be, but. Hey, okay, let's not rush into things. For now, let's just keep something around that. And if we are looking for some, like I said, yeah, if we're looking for some higher levels, then wait for at least a push above that barrier. If you've missed this rally here, I mean, it could still go higher, don't get me wrong, but let's be a little bit on the careful side. If you've missed this jump, that's fine. Don't worry. It might travel a little bit higher, test this territory, and maybe then decide what it wants to do after that. NZDJPY also pushing beautifully to the upside. Look, I need to remove some lines here because I think that this is already a little bit old. I think that this arrow, yes, worked out okay. I think that it's better right now to redraw this and kind of start fresh. So if you're looking for some lower levels, a drop below this 86.78 territory is required. At the same time, a fall below the 200-day EMA could attract a few more sellers into the game. But for the upside, this is where the tricky bit comes in. For the upside, I think maybe a push above this little territory, this I would actually even say the 88 zone. If we do climb and stay above the 88 zone, yes, I will go further north. At the moment, what I'm seeing here is, yeah, it's a good move, great. It's mainly on the fact that the interest rate did not happen from the BoJ, and interest rate hike did not happen from the BoJ, and yes, we're seeing some positivity. But as I said, look at the economic data tomorrow. Some economic data coming out from New Zealand, employment numbers. Unemployment numbers, so yes, job numbers basically in general. So we could see some action in we could see some action in the New Zealand dollar. Now, new NZDUSD. So here the same story. Look, yes, we're pushing back up, but as I said to you before, as long as we remain below that 0.5860 territory, I will continue targeting the downside. And if we do, if we do push above that area and stay above that area, then yes, I'll consider a larger correction to the upside. USDJPY, guys, beautiful. Boom, there we go. Push back up. I mean, this is just a roller coaster ride, and you know what? I want to free it all from any lines, and I want to start fresh again, because this is just insanity. I mean, this is just amazing. And BoJ, like I said, yes, it helped devaluate the Japanese yen again. And although we saw US dollar kind of declining a little bit, still, you know, JPY was on the weaker side. And look, I will take a very conservative approach here, and I'll keep an eye on the highest point of October, should I say the current highest point of October, near the 150.78 zone. If that gets cleared and we stay above it, I'll go further north. I'll go for that 151, 52, or 53 levels. For the downside, I will also take a very conservative approach, and I will wait for a drop below the 148.80 zone in order to consider a move lower. All this area will be a little bit on the neutral side for me, because again, it's a little bit unclear, and it's just kind of a choppy roller coaster ride here, so I don't like that. So I try to kind of I try to find some sort of clarity in all this. USDCAD, we drifted back below the 1.3862, and I said too that if we do drop and stay below that area, then we'll consider a larger maybe correction to the downside here towards that 1.3785, or maybe even lower, but we'll get to that point in a bit. Look, for now, I'm just aiming lower, and I'm targeting that 1.3785, and then we'll take it from there. For the upside, I need to see a pop above the 1.3880 zone, and if I get that, then yes, great, more buyers could join in, and we could aim for that 1.39 area, or even the psychological 140. By the way, we're not far from 140, as you can see. USDCHF, beautiful hold up near the 38.2. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Yes, at the moment, I said to you that if we want to continue aiming higher, we need to see again a push above the 38.2, and then the 50% retracement on the Fibonacci. And then we'll go from there. For the downside, a drop below the 23.6 here is required, and if that happens, then yes, I will consider a move lower, because again, we would be below all of the EMAs on my daily chart, and this could present itself with a nice opportunity for the sellers. But of course, that's the downside scenario. At the moment, we're closer to the upper one because we're above all the EMAs, and we're flirting with that 38.2. Let's see if we can reach that 50% retracement on the Fibonacci, which is approximately around the 0.9066, 67, something like that. GBPNZD is still holding on. This, look, it's like still hugging that downside line from, you know, from the other side. Is just rubbing into it, like, and it seems like, hey, you know, like, hey, let me out, you know. So let's see if we can let it out, you know. Let's see if the downside line can let this pair go and, you know, move nicely to the upside. But at the moment, while we remain below the downside line, the trend becomes to the downside. I mean, at least the short-term trend is to the downside. However, my downside scenario, as I said, will be from around here, from around that 2.07 territory, right? And basically I need to see a drop below the 50 and the 100-day EMAs in order to go lower, aiming potentially towards that 200-day EMA. For the upside, well, as you can see yourselves, yes, a break of that downside line is required. If I get that, great. I will go higher towards the 2.0965 area, somewhere around here first. And then we will just kind of go slowly, take it from there. And yes, we could just continue targeting the upside. So GBP Aussie, interesting developments here as well. We are stuck in a little range, so pretty straightforward. Once we get out of the range, then we will consider the next short-term directional move. While we remain inside the range, I am just basically observing the price action and not really doing much. So just kind of, watching all that. Yeah, I don't like that. I really don't. So I prefer to wait for a clearance of one of these sides. GBPJPY, beautiful rebound, of course, for obvious reasons as well, because of the Japanese yen. Not that the pound is stronger. No, it's just because of the Japanese yen, and we're still in range. So again, the similar story. We're waiting for this pair to exit the one of the sides of the range in order to consider the next short-term directional move. So for now, yes, if we do clear this upper side, and great, more buyers here could join in. But if we do drop below this hurdle, then yes, I will consider a move towards this upside line drawn from the low of the 28th of July. EURCAD. So we are at a very interesting spot. I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but as you can see, my arrows, yes, it kind of worked out. So we moved above all my EMAs, and then we traveled higher. We reached my target here, this downside line. And now the question is, can we break that? We already broke that yesterday, but can we stay above that area? So let me adjust all the lines here. I think that would be logical. So I don't have a clear kind of area of okay, this is a good area of support, the 1.4617. So in a way, we could consider maybe a move lower, a break below that, and move lower if we do break this hurdle. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that downside line right there. I'm also gonna draw this upside one. So basically, if you're looking for some lower levels, then yes, a break of this hurdle, this 1.4617, could open the door to a larger correction to the downside towards my upside support line drawn from the low of the 28th of September. And yep, if that gets cleared, certainly more sellers here could join in, and we could go to the downside. But at the moment, look, long story short, if we do break this upside line and fall below all the EMAs, then yes, I will consider a deeper move to the downside. But of course, before that, we need to clear some levels here. But at the moment, we're flirting with the downside line. If that gets cleared here, and we do push, let's say, above the also above the current highest point of October near the 1.4711, then certainly yes, this creates a new high for October, and we could see a further move north. So yeah, at this point, like I said, this is what I'm watching here. I'm watching this downside line very carefully because it's quite attractive in order to consider higher levels. Let me just clean up this chart a little bit. I think some of the levels are no longer needed. This is no longer needed, so let's mark instead the lowest point of September. Yep, but yeah, I'll get to other levels later on. Maybe this actually could be nice for our future reference here. There we go. But again, I'll pick up on that later. But at the moment, I'm watching this upside scenario. EURUSD. So yes, we're pushing back up. Of course, the US dollar did weaken. And look, this is what I don't like. This is a little bit of a mess. So let me get rid of this upside line. No longer needed, this trend line. So now the question is, can we remain above that 1.06 territory? Well, I mean, in general, I said to you yesterday that if we do pop and stay above it, then yes, I'll continue aiming to the upside initially for that 50-day EMA. And if that gets clear, then it's the 100-day EMA together with the 200-day EMA. So that's my game plan for the upside. For the downside, a drop below the 1.0523 territory is required in order to go lower. But at the moment, yes, it's like I said, it's the barrier here, the 1.06 territory that I'm watching. And if we stay above that, then yes, I'll continue targeting the upside. So guys, that's it for this session. I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for tuning in and watching this one until the end. I really appreciate that. Look, guys, if you wanna if you have any questions, you can always ask me any questions, or if there's an instrument that you want me to look into, you can always drop a comment in there in the box. Either I'm going to pick up in the same session or maybe the next one, and we'll go from there. But look, in the meantime, I hope you'll have a fantastic trading day today, guys. Stay safe, have your stop losses in place, don't risk too much, or like don't risk only what you can afford to lose. Don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. I'll see you tomorrow At the same time, 6 o'clock GMT time. Oh, wait, just a second. Yes, 6 o'clock GMT time. Just a sec. Let me just double check something. No, not 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock GMT time. There we go. 7 o'clock GMT time, guys. That's what I'm gonna. I need to fix my thumbnails, I think. Yes. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in and watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock GMT time. Thank you very much. And bye-bye. If you want to continue to please the trading gods, subscribe to our channel for a blessing.